In his book, Introduction to Documentary, Bill Nichols states, "We can ask of any documentary 2 questions. What model does it adopt from other media? What mode does it contribute to as cinema?" These questions are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they are complementary. Together, they bring us a better sense of the structure of any one documentary film. Using the knowledge from non-fiction models and documentary modes, let's now compare how American Factory and Zhongdi constructed their work. American Factory is a Netflix documentary. It follows a Chinese company opening up a new factory in America after an old motors plant had been taken down. The documentary tackles the integration of Chinese and American workers as well as presents the difference in social class between billionaire businessmen and working class factory workers. Zhongdi is a Vimeo documentary. It follows the life of one factory worker. He is training to win a kickboxing tournament so he can see his girlfriend who lives in another country. American Factory adopts the model of investigation with snippets of autobiography. The documentary makers are investigating this new factory opening, building evidence for how the process was made. This is shown through meetings between the businessmen, these large assembly talks with the factory workers, and interviews about factory life. Working class people will talk about their own experiences with the old motors plant closing down, whereas Zhongdi only adopts the model of autobiography. Those snippets of autobiographical storytelling feel as though the subject is talking directly to the audience about their experience, rather than being interviewed by an external source. Let's look at the modes of documentary that they contribute to cinema. They both heavily draw from the expository mode. However, they start to differ drastically. American Factory only mixes in the observational mode to its documentary, as the audience watches the workers build things and shows them operating machines. It is used to further the storyline of how this new factory is being prepared. The documentary makers have chosen these modes as they are trying to present the information in its most authentic form. Zhongdi, on the other hand, sure mixes in the observational mode, but it also mixes in the poetic mode. This gives the documentary its own voice, makes the viewer feel the documentary maker is pushing a certain perspective. There are 3 examples of poetic mode throughout the documentary, the first being this shot of the factory worker's apartment. It may seem unimportant at first glance, but it makes the main character feel insignificant, that he's just one of many in this society and that the odds are stacked against him. The beginning shots are long and make his life feel slow, whereas when he is training, the pacing picks up with a montage of quick, snappy shots, making this aspect of his life feel exciting. Once he wins the tournament, there is no time to soak in the victory. The scene quickly moves on to him travelling to see his girlfriend, as this was the real purpose of the story, and hopefully his actual victory. How would all this benefit a documentary maker on their work? Of adopting the non-fiction models of other media, it will help identify what documentary modes would complement the creation of the story best. It will also help them to plan out how they want to present the information from their story. Do they want their documentary to have a strong voice? Well, they should apply the poetic mode. This means they have more control over the pacing, shots, and sound of the documentary. Do they want their documentary to be authentic to the truth? Then apply the observational mode. This way, they can present the information exactly how it is. How do they want the scenes to be played out? Through an actor's performance or being directly told by the cast? This means they should apply either the performative or the expository mode.